everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Jacqueline and this is Low Carblish, the channel where we make low carb versions of our favorite high carb foods. Today we are going to make turkey tenderloin, and I'm going to show you guys how to make it two different ways. Both of these we're going to top off with the beautiful creamy lemon sauce. One way that we're going to do it is we're going to poach it in a pan with some chicken broth, and the other way is we're going to dip it in pork rinds and cheese and eggs and fry it in the air fryer. So the first thing I need to do is get these out of the pack. If you've never bought turkey tenderloins before, generally speaking there are two pieces in a pack. Once in a while you'll get a pack that's got three, but most of the time there's two in it. And you're just going to open the pack up and wash them off and pat them dry. So I'm going to do that now. And I'm going to go over here to the sink and see if I can't get these washed off and just show you guys what. And this is just for y'all that have never bought it before. I had never bought these before until recently, and I was surprised when I got them how good they taste and how easy they are to cook. So you just open the package up and let them slide out, and we do have two nice pieces in this package. And just rinse them off with cold water. And sometimes this little piece right here will not be connected, and I'm just going to cut this membrane off after I get them washed up, and we'll just poach it out with the other piece. Okay, and so we're going to pat these dry. Board going here. And I'm going to remove that little membrane real quick. I'm going to run over here and get a knife. I'll be right back. And it won't hurt anything if you want to cook these. I just prefer to get rid of them. I've got a bigger piece over here that's got some of this membrane on it too. So I'm going to just trim this off. And once we get this trimmed off, then we'll get started. Okay, so alright, the first one we're going to do is we're going to poach one of these in some chicken broth. And if you've never poached meat before, it is really a nice way to cook meat. The meat comes out super tender. It's a really nice way to cook it. And since we're covering it with the lemon sauce, it won't matter that you're not getting that browning. Unless you want to sear it after you poach it, but it's really not necessary. So let's get over here and I'll show you how I do this. Now I'm using today a chicken broth that comes in the package, and I usually just pour this in, but for y'all today I'm going to measure it out just to see how much we're actually going to need to poach this piece of turkey. 1 cup. 2 cups. Now I'm going to do probably 3 cups. That's what we're going to put in here. Yep, that's what we need right there. So, poaching meat has been done for years and years and years. And I just started poaching meat probably, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And since I've been eating low carb, I do it frequently because it's fast and it's simple. And if I'm going to put a sauce over top of it, I don't care whether or not I'm getting a nice golden brown on it. So let me put this up and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got my broth in the pan here. I've got my dial on my stove up on medium, high sort of. And I'm going to just put some salt and pepper in the broth. I don't do too much salt because this particular brand is salted. It's just not super salted. And so I like a little more salt than they have in there, but I have to be careful not to over salt it as well. And then I'm just going to sprinkle in, and this is probably half of a teaspoon of onion powder and garlic powder just to flavor the broth that we're cooking the meat in. And then you don't even have to wait for your broth to come up to a high temperature. You can just put your tenderloin in to the broth and get it going. If I can get a hold of it here, there we go. And you just lay it in the liquid there, and then we're going to and we'll put this little piece in there with it too. And we're going to put the top on it, and we're just going to boil it and poach it. So normally after about 5 to 6 minutes on one side, because these tenderloins are pretty thick. They're not usually this thick. But normally 5 to 6 minutes on each side and it's done, but we may have to go in there and check it as it's cooking to make sure that it's getting done all the way, and then we'll be topping it with our lemon sauce. So we're going to let this rest, and I'm going to go back over to my other station and we're going to get started, and we'll do the ones that we're going to put in the air fryer. Okay y'all, so I've got everything set up for the turkey tenderloin we're going to do in the air fryer. So what I've got here is I've got 1 cup of zhuzhed up pork rinds that I just put in the food processor and ground them up like breadcrumbs. And I've got 3/4 of a cup of Parmesan Romano cheese mix that just comes in the little plastic jug from the grocery store. And I'm getting ready to put 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder and 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder and mix this all in with our breading here. And we're not going to be using all of this. I just like to make enough to where no matter how big the pork tender or the turkey tenderloin is, or pork tenderloin if you do it with pork, I just want to make sure I've got enough breadcrumbs to get a really good dip on this, because I'm going to be doing it twice. So let me get these out of the way here. So the first thing I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do is get my egg in the egg, or get my fork in the eggs. Rinse that off real quick. Yeah, sometimes I do the silliest things. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to dip this into the eggs, and this is just 3 eggs that I scrambled. So we're going to dip it into the egg wash first. And I'm going to make sure I get all sides in the egg wash, and then we're going to dip it into our breadcrumb creation that we made with pork rinds and cheese. It's okay, babe. I have no idea what she's barking at, but we may have marauders in the yard. That's her. And she could be barking at our neighbor's Halloween decorations, which she is not on board for that program. They've got animated decorations on their porch that are really cute, and she does not like that. Every time they move, she's got something to say about it. So dip them in the egg again, and then we're going back into our mixture here. Alright, just make sure we get it coated really well. And then I'm going to put this on my plate here, and we're going to go back over to the stove because I need to check on my piece that we're poaching. And if you do this and you pick it up and you miss some, or some comes off, just put some more back on there. It'll stick and it'll be fine. Okay, so we'll leave that there, and I'm going to go back over to the stove, and we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, y'all, so the poaching turkey's going here, and turn this over, and you can see we're getting a nice cook, and I can feel just by putting the tongs on it that it's still got a ways to go. That little piece right there is probably just about ready. I'll pull it out in a minute, but it's just poaching, so I just flipped it over. We're going to put the lid back on it, let it to continue to cook, and I may take the heat down on it just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. And then we're gonna get this piece into the air fryer. And then when we come back, we'll take the poached piece out. We'll work on the flipping the air fryer piece, and then I'll show you how to make the lemon cream sauce, which is delicious. Okay, y'all, so the first thing I'm going to do is spray the inside of my air fryer with a little bit of oil. And then I'm going to start the air fryer, and I'm going to preheat it for about 6 minutes on 380. And then when I come back, we'll put it in the air fryer and we'll get going. So for me, I don't think I have a preheat setting on this one. If I do, I hadn't found it yet. But I'm doing my temperature on 380. I'm going to do it for 6 minutes just to preheat it, and then we'll pop the turkey in there and we'll get going. So we'll be back in just a minute. Okay guys, so the poached turkey, I think, is getting close to done if it's not done already. I'm getting ready to cut it in the middle, which you can watch and see. Nope, we still got a few more minutes to go on that. So I probably need to turn the heat back up on this and flip it back over, because it's getting done on the ends, but it's still not done in the middle. So I'm going to turn the heat back up just a little bit to medium, cover it back up. And this has been going on both sides probably about 8 minutes now. So we're going to put this piece into the air fryer. I got the air fryer heated up, so now we're going to put this piece in the air fryer and get it going. And this is also quite delicious. And you hear that sizzle because it's preheated. And we're going to turn the air fryer on again. I'm doing 380, and we're going to start at 11 minutes, and then I'll come in and flip it and we'll cook it again. And we'll be back in just a few minutes, and it won't be too long. We'll be making the lemon sauce, and we'll be plating this stuff up, and it's going to be delicious.
Go.
Okay, y'all, so we've got the turkey, and I'm going to check it again, but I'm almost positive it's done now, because I've been checking it as we go along here. So I just want to cut into this thickest part, and it is, it's done. So I'm going to turn it over one more time, just to let it soak up some of that juice. And y'all, I'm telling you, when I first started doing this, I was not convinced that this was going to be good. I'm like, boiling meat. But honestly, poaching turkey and chicken and different meats like this, it is so tender and so delicious. And I'm going to get another plate, and I'm going to just put a plate tent over this. And just let it rest. I'm so sorry I don't have this plate out, y'all. Sorry for the noise. But I'm just going to put this plate over here and let this rest. And all that's going to do is just let it continue to cook a little bit. And it's going to get even more juicy than it already is. So I turned the air fryer off just so that wouldn't be blowing. We got 8 more minutes to go in the air fryer. So I'm going to cut away again so y'all don't have to hear the noise and just wait on the air fryer. And I'll be back in just a few minutes and we'll flip it and then we'll go. Okay guys, so this turkey tenderloin has been in the air fryer for, let's see, 12 minutes on one side, and I'm gonna flip it over, and you see we're getting that beautiful crust on it, but you can also see it's not done yet. So we're going back in the air fryer for 8 more minutes. I'll probably check it at 6 just to be on the safe side, but it's probably gonna take 8 more minutes just because it's such a thick cut. And then when we come back, I'm gonna make the lemon sauce real quick, and we'll top both of them off with the lemon sauce, and then I'll show you how delicious this is. Okay y'all, so the air fryer just stopped, and I've checked this a couple times. It did have to go the full 8 minutes, and actually I took it a couple minutes further than that. And we're losing a little bit of the crust here, but that's okay. So I'm gonna let this rest for a few minutes before I cut into it and show it to you. But we're getting ready to make the lemon cream sauce that goes on top of both of these. So let me set this over there, and then we'll get started on that. Okay guys, so I've got 2 tablespoons of butter melting here in my pan, and it's just now finishing melting up. I'm trying to not have so many breaks. I'm really sorry that this had so many breaks in the video, but these turkey tenderloins, they were really thick. So if you buy some and you get them that are that thick, what I would suggest that you do is lower the temperature from 380 to about 355 on your air fryer and cook them a little bit slowly and a little bit longer. If they're not as thick as these, then the time should be about the same, which is going to be 4 to 6 minutes on each side. And like I say, you got to just cut down the middle to be sure. So I'm adding 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and I don't have any fresh lemons in the house right now, so I'm having to go with my juice from this. But I've done this with this juice before, and it works just as well. So get my little whisk out here too. But I use salted butter, so I just add a touch of pink salt to this. Any salt will work. But I don't add like a ton of salt to it because my butter's already salted. And I'm going to stir this up just a little bit and let this lemon juice and butter sort of incorporate, and then I'm going to be adding the cream. And I've got my heat on medium again. And when you see the lemon juice and the butter sort of come together and they get a little cloudy, then you can add your cream in. And the cream's going to help everything emulsify, and it's going to be so delicious. And it's just a half a cup of heavy whipping cream. And I'll leave the macros and everything down in the description, and I'll leave it at 1 tablespoon, and that way you can count how many tablespoons you want to put on your turkey and control your carbs and your macros that way. It's low carb, so I mean you can really enjoy a nice serving of it. And so it's all mixed in together, and I'm just going to let it heat through probably another minute or 2. And it will thicken up a little bit. It's not going to get super thick on you, but it will thicken up a little bit, and the cream and the lemon juice and the butter all kind of come together, and it does get a little bit thicker. So we'll do that. And I'm just going to continue to cook this for a couple of minutes, and then I'll come back and we'll plate some turkey up and we'll put the lemon sauce on it. Okay y'all, so the cream sauce is thickened up a little bit and it's ready to go. I cooked it probably about 4 more minutes instead of 2, and turned the heat down in the last minute or so. And you can see it's got a nice creamy consistency. It's not super thin, it's not super thick, but it's going to be nice on top of this turkey. And this also is a lovely sauce to use on fish as well. So let me get my little spatula here. And I'm just going to pour it in this little bowl. And if you want to thicken this up and make it like super thick, you can do that. You can add a little xanthan gum or some glucomannan to it. But I like it this consistency, but you do you, boo-boo. Alright, so I'm going to take and cut a couple of these so you can see. This turkey is just so nice and tender. And the crust on it is beautiful. And very tasty. And you guys, you won't believe, I mean, air fryers make meat really tender anyway, but you just won't believe how nice and tender this turns out. And it's the same thing with the poached turkey. It's super tender, super tasty, because I put all of the spices and everything in it when I was poaching. And then I'm just going to plate this up and we're going to do a little taste test here. I actually have people coming over for dinner later on tonight, so I'm just going to eat a little bit of this because I don't want to spoil my appetite before they get here. And got to get a little bit of that crust on there because I love it. Alright, and so I'm just going to do, I've got to get a spoon, you guys. It'll prepare, well, actually I've got this half tablespoon I can use. So, you just pour the dipping sauce over it, and it's got a really nice strong lemony flavor, and if you like lemon, you're going to love this. Alright, so I'll meet you over at the table in a minute. We'll do a taste test. Okay y'all, we're ready for the taste test, and I'm telling y'all, Both pieces of this turkey are really, really good. They're tender, they're juicy, they've got a really good flavor. The poached flavor comes from me putting all the spices in the water while I was poaching it, and then of course the lemon sauce on top of it. And the flavor from the turkey that we cooked in the air fryer is coming from the crust that formed on it when we used the pork rinds and the cheese, and y'all, it's good. So this lemon sauce is beautiful on this. Yes. And then the one that we did in the air fryer, we've got the little pieces with the crust on them. I love that crust. Very, very, very good. So I hope that you guys have tried this recipe, because it is, especially the poaching part, is super simple to do. The air fryer, it feels like it's a little more difficult, but if you're looking for that crispy kind of fried chickeny breading, it's worth it to do that for the air fryer too. So I appreciate y'all coming by today. I hope you will try this recipe. If you like the content that you're seeing here, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button, because it really does help people who have just been diagnosed to find my channel and help them find the answers they're looking for. And I would love it if you feel like subscribing. If you would subscribe, and you'll never miss another recipe that I put out. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for hanging out with me, and I hope you guys have a fantastic evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.